Kathy Davidson with Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
And I'm Rebecca Smith with Next Step Community Solutions.
We want to talk to you today about the dangers of providing alcohol to a minor. Not only are there legal consequences, adults who provide alcohol to minors can be fined up to $4,000 and up to a year in jail. But new research shows that even allowing your child to drink at home can have unintended consequences on brain development and how your child views alcohol.
We'll also talk to you about how to have conversations about alcohol with your child. Studies show that one of the biggest determining factors on whether a child chooses to drink is the attitude and reaction of their parents.
Much of the information you will hear today is from the MADD Power of Parents program. If you check out madd.org/Power of Parents or click the link in this video, you can download the accompanying handbook. This is a great tool for referencing what you've learned or tips for talking with your middle schooler or teen.
While we have lots of facts and data to share with you, our friends at MADD have stories of teens whose lives were tragically cut short by alcohol. Now I'd like to share the story of Olivia Pruitt as told by her mother, Lisa. My daughter Olivia didn't wake up one day desiring to be an alcoholic and addict and lose her life at 21. That came about from the friends and choices that she made. Olivia took her first drink around age 13. Looking back, there were signs. Her friends changed in middle school. Her diaries talked about how badly she wanted to fit in. I once dropped her off at a friend's house, and when I returned, she was so intoxicated with alcohol poisoning that we went straight to the emergency room. Drinking caused Olivia to lose her virginity just before the 8th grade to a high school senior. Then she was so ashamed, she drank more and tried to take her own life. Counseling helped for a while, but if she took one drink, she just couldn't stop. Olivia was a repeat offender. She got arrested, did drugs, wrecked a car, and became involved in an abusive relationship. Despite all the bad things, she still graduated early from high school with wonderful grades. When she wasn't under the influence, she was sweet and charming and funny. At age 21, Olivia called and asked for help. We got her waitlisted at an inpatient treatment program. She was supposed to call daily to check for an opening, but Olivia stopped calling, thinking she could handle it herself. 3 months later, she drove drunk, hit an embankment, and died the next day. Later, I learned that the parents of one of Olivia's closest middle school friends allowed kids to drink at home as long as no one was driving. I had no idea. I trusted other parents and put my head in the sand. I never wanted to believe that my daughter had a drinking problem or was less than perfect. Losing Olivia changed our family forever. The simplest things you take for granted become a monumental event, like setting the kitchen table, just holding that extra plate in your hand. I share her story because if one person chooses not to go down that same path, then Olivia's life and death have purpose. That gives me comfort.
At MADD and at Next Step, we know that underage drinking can get in the way of a teen living to their full potential and can sometimes tragically end in the loss of life.
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, excessive drinking is responsible for more than 3,500 deaths and 210,000 years of potential life lost among people under age 21.
Some parents might mistakenly believe that their teen is safe as long as they don't get behind the wheel after drinking. But keep in mind that 2/3 or 68% of underage drinking related deaths are due to incidents other than traffic related causes.
Alcohol contributes to deaths resulting from homicides, suicides, alcohol and other poisonings, drownings, fires, and falls. It is dangerous and illegal for teens to consume alcohol even if they are not driving. So as a parent, simply taking away the keys doesn't take away the risk.
Hi, I'm Nathan Grounds, Coalition Coordinator for the Northeast Texas Coalition Against Substance Abuse at Next Step.
And I'm Joseph Byram, Coalition Coordinator for the Piney Woods Substance Abuse Coalition at Next Step.
Parents and other adults have some misconceptions about how teens view alcohol. There are adults who think that allowing kids to drink small amounts of alcohol in the home will teach them to drink safely, or that it takes away the mystery of teens' desires to drink. Some may say it's not a big deal to give kids a little bit on a special occasion, or they may say, I turned out okay, so my kid will be okay too.
It's important for adults and parents to know multiple studies in both the US and Europe have consistently shown that kids who are permitted to drink in their homes drink more often and in larger amounts outside the home when their parents are not around, and they experience more serious problems.
There are no other drugs that adults would consider giving to kids in supervised settings that lower their risk of using it outside the home that have such a big impact on brain function. For example, most adults would not think of giving kids painkillers or cocaine in small doses in the home to let their kids experience the effects, yet many do this with alcohol.
You can't teach your child or teen how to drink responsibly. Their brains simply aren't wired to process consequences or moderation yet.
On that note, let's talk about some brain science for a bit. The brain doesn't fully stop developing until the mid-20s. Brain development happens from the back to the front. The last part of the brain to develop is called the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that controls risk assessment, decision making, and impulse control.
If you've ever said to your child, "What were you thinking?" remember the brain science. Teenagers don't think like adults yet because their brain hasn't reached that stage of development.
Because the teen brain is still developing, it is susceptible to damage from alcohol and other substances. Researchers have found that damage to the prefrontal cortex from drinking in adolescence can be long-term and irreversible.
In addition to the damage to the prefrontal cortex, the hippocampus is also damaged. In fact, research has shown that this part of the brain, which is involved in learning and memory, suffers the worst alcohol-related brain damage in teens. Long-term, heavy drinking causes teens to have 10% smaller hippocampus. In addition, short-term or moderate drinking impairs learning and memory far more in youths than adults. Frequent drinkers may never be able to catch up in adulthood, since alcohol inhibits systems crucial for storing new information.
Abusing alcohol as a teen also makes addiction more likely. According to the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, children who begin drinking at age 13 have a 45% chance of becoming alcohol dependent. A person who starts drinking at the legal age of 21 only has a 7% chance of becoming dependent.
There are a lot of factors to consider when it comes to brain development and alcohol. Remember that we said that teens' brains aren't wired for decision making? What they are wired for is risk taking. While parents might find that unsettling, we can use that knowledge for good.
Instead of abusing alcohol, what are some healthy ways your teens can take risks? Talk with your teen about what excites and interests them to help them find healthy outlets for risk-taking.
Along with risk-taking, another thing parents might worry about is peers giving their kids alcohol or a group of friends applying social pressure to their kid to drink. Parents should worry less about their teen associating with the bad kid and focus on helping correct adolescents' misperceptions that everyone is drinking. Those misperceptions can lead to the belief that it's normal to drink underage, that you have to drink to fit in, and ultimately leads to more teen drinking.
Take the results from the Texas School Survey, for example. Texas School Survey is conducted by Texas A&M University every 2 years in 7th through 12th grade classrooms across the state of Texas. The surveys are anonymous, and researchers developed ways to weed out students who aren't taking the survey seriously. According to their 2020 survey, only 27% of 7th through 12th graders in East Texas region said they had a drink in the last 30 days.
This means that the majority of students do not drink. As parents, we need to direct our focus on what the real problem is, correcting misinformation and changing our kids' perceptions.
One final thing we wanted to encourage parents to do is to talk to their kids about underage drinking. That's what the Power of Parents is all about. Research shows that the most effective way to have the conversation is to talk early and to talk often. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends starting the conversation as early as 9 years old. Instead of making it a one-time dramatic conversation, bring up the topic in a casual way and ask for your child's thoughts. Give a strong message of disapproval and give clear boundaries, but in a loving way.
You may think that your child or teen doesn't listen to you, or you might think they care more what their friends think. But when teens are surveyed, they point to their parents as their number one factor in their decisions about whether or not to drink. Make a plan with your teen for how you can help if they are in a potentially dangerous situation involving alcohol, like this example here. Remind your teen that you are on their side and want what is best for them.
Thanks for watching our video.
We hope that you learned something new and feel more empowered to talk to your child about underage drinking.
Research has shown us so much about underage drinking in the past 20 years, so don't feel guilty for anything you didn't know. We know your parents love your kids and are doing a great job.
It's never too late to talk to your kids about this important topic. Remember, you can find all this information and more in the Power of Parents booklet. Thanks again and have a great day.